A black man walking through here at night, acting all twitchy? That's suspicious behavior. You don't belong in this neighborhood, boy. Officer Brandon Steele slams Franklin Brooks against the squad car hood. Franklin's face hits metal. Steele grabs his collar and drags him backward across Wilson Street, 2 blocks from Kennedy High School, through empty suburban sidewalks where black men walking alone always look wrong. "Officer, please! Shut your mouth!" Steele rips Franklin's briefcase open and hurls it. Papers scatter everywhere. He yanks Franklin's arm behind his back and twists until the expensive dress jacket tears at the shoulder during the violent drag. Something heavy slides out of the torn pocket and hits the concrete. Metallic clink. Steele looks down. His hand goes slack on Franklin's collar. The color drains from his face, pale first, then blue-tinged like oxygen just left his blood. Officer Morrison arrives. She sees what's on the ground. Her mouth opens. The medal lies between them on the pavement. Blue ribbon with 13 white stars, gold medallion catching the streetlight. Every American knows this symbol, Congressional Medal of Honor. Steele's radio crackles, and before this moment, just 2 minutes ago, the dispatcher's voice came through clear. "Unit 23, what's your status?" Steele had responded while watching Franklin walk down the street. "Making a stop. Kennedy High area. Suspicious individual." His partner Morrison's voice came through in the background, uncertain. "Brandon, are you sure about this?" "Trust me," Steele said into the radio, his eyes tracking Franklin. "The teacher married to that lawyer. Time to send a message." Now that message lies on the concrete between them. A civilian witness steps out from a nearby house, phone already raised and recording. "Oh my God, is that what I think it is?" Another witness across the street films from her porch. "That's the Medal of Honor. I've seen it on TV." Morrison stares at the medal, then at Steele. Her voice comes out barely above a whisper. "Brandon, that's..." Steele's breathing changes. Fast, shallow. His eyes dart from the medal to the witnesses with their phones, to Morrison, back to the medal. His mind is calculating. Career implications, lawsuit ammunition, public witnesses, viral video, federal investigation. He can't undo this, can't unsee this, can't explain this away. Franklin speaks from the ground, his voice calm and controlled despite the pain in his twisted arm. "Congressional Medal of Honor, awarded for saving 23 United States Marines under sustained enemy fire in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, 2019. I'm Franklin Brooks. I teach history at Kennedy High School, 2 blocks from here, where Mayor Rodriguez is waiting to honor my service at a ceremony that starts in 15 minutes. Steele's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Franklin continues, still calm. "You just dragged a decorated war veteran onto the pavement for having a PTSD response to a car backfire." Morrison takes a step back. "Brandon, what are you—" But Steele makes his decision, the worst decision. Instead of apologizing, instead of helping Franklin up, instead of acknowledging the catastrophic mistake, he reaches down and picks up the medal. His hand shakes as he looks at it, then he shoves it into his pocket. "This doesn't change anything," Steele says, his voice tight. "You are acting suspiciously. You refuse to comply with lawful orders. You're under arrest for resisting an officer." Morrison's face goes pale. "Brandon, what are you doing?" "He matched a description," Steele says desperately. "We had probable cause. Get the cuffs!" A witness shouts from across the street. "You can't arrest him. He's a war hero. That man saved American soldiers." Another voice joins. "I'm recording this. Everyone's seeing this." Steele ignores them and pulls out his handcuffs. He snaps them onto Franklin's wrists, tightening them more than necessary. The metal bites into Franklin's skin. Franklin looks up at Steele, his voice still eerily calm. "You saw the medal. You know who I am. You know this is wrong. And you're doing it anyway." Steele doesn't respond. He just pulls Franklin toward the patrol car, the medal now stolen evidence in his pocket, 5 civilian phones recording every second, and Officer Morrison standing frozen in the middle of Wilson Street, watching everything fall apart. Steele forces Franklin into the back of the patrol car, and the door slams shut with a heavy metallic thud. The medal, the highest military decoration this nation can bestow, sits in Steele's pocket like a bomb waiting to explode. Franklin sits in the back seat, his wrists cuffed too tight, watching Steele through the metal grate. The witnesses haven't stopped recording. Their phones capture everything: the arrest, the stolen metal, Steele's face when it fell. One witness is a former Marine, and he recognizes Franklin immediately. He steps forward, his phone still recording. "Mr. Brooks taught my daughter at Kennedy High. He's a Medal of Honor recipient. You're making a huge mistake, officer." Steele turns on him. "Step back. This is an active arrest. If you interfere, I'll charge you with obstruction of justice." The Marine doesn't step back. "That man saved American lives. What the hell are you doing?" Steele gets in his car and drives off. In the rearview mirror, he watches the witnesses clustering together, their phones out, already uploading, already sharing. The viral momentum starts here, at this exact moment, with 5 civilian videos hitting social media simultaneously. Morrison follows in her patrol car and her hands shake on the steering wheel. She didn't sign up for this. She joined the force to help people, to serve her community, but somewhere along the way she got caught up in the brotherhood. The unwritten rule: you protect your partner no matter what. But this is different. This isn't covering for someone who took an extra break or fudged a report. This is watching a war hero get arrested for being black. Inside Steele's patrol car, Franklin speaks, his voice carrying from the back seat. "Officer Williams' body camera was on. I saw it. The civilian phones recorded everything. You cannot erase what just happened." Steele grips the steering wheel tighter. "I said shut up. You pocketed a Congressional Medal of Honor. That's theft of federal military property. That's a felony. The witnesses recorded it." Steele says nothing. His mind races through possibilities, through explanations, through lies he can tell, but the truth keeps intruding. The medal fell out. Everyone saw it. He took it. Everyone saw that too. His radio crackles. Captain Moss's voice comes through, urgent and sharp. "Steele, what's your status? I'm hearing chatter about a Medal of Honor?" Steele grabs the radio. "Under control, Captain. Subject secured. False alarm on the medal thing. Just some prop, probably. Street vendor knockoff." There's a pause. "Get back to the precinct. Now." At the precinct parking lot, Steele pulls Morrison aside before they go inside. The parking lot is empty except for scattered patrol cars and the distant hum of the fluorescent lights. Steele's voice comes out in a desperate whisper. "This never happened. The medal? I didn't see it clearly. Could have been anything. A prop. A fake. Some street vendor junk." Morrison stares at him. "Brandon, 5 people recorded it. It's on video. Clear video. Close-up video. We say he was aggressive. We feared for our safety. The medal was hidden in his pocket. We couldn't see it until after the arrest. We released him as soon as we identified him as a veteran. Simple administrative mistake." "He wasn't aggressive," Morrison says, and her voice cracks slightly. "He was explaining about PTSD, the car backfire. He was trying to communicate, and you—" "That's not what our report will say." Steele cuts her off. His eyes are hard now, desperate. "Jen, listen to me. If we let him go now, if we admit this was wrong, my career is over. Your career is over. We're both named in that civil rights lawsuit his wife filed. Don't you get it? This was always going to happen. We just need to control the narrative." Morrison looks at him like she's seeing him for the first time. "There was no call. There was no description. You made it up." "There's a call now," Steele says, and his implication is clear. Inside the precinct, Captain Moss waits in his office, and the moment Steele walks in, Moss slams the door shut. "What the hell did you just do?" "He matched a description," Steele starts. "He was acting erratically. We had to— He's a Medal of Honor recipient!" Moss's voice rises, then drops to a hiss. "On his way to a ceremony, with the mayor, with the press." "We didn't know that until after—" "Until after you dragged him and it fell out?" Moss leans forward. "On camera? In front of a crowd? How many witnesses?" 5, maybe 6. "Oh my God!" Moss sits down heavily. He's 52 years old, 28 years on the force, 6 years as captain, and he's seen a lot of mistakes in his time. But this is career-ending, department-destroying, consent decree triggering. But Moss is also practical, survival-oriented, and he makes his own calculation. "We process him normally, simple resisting charge. Paperwork says no medal was visible during the stop. We release him in a few hours. He'll be late to his ceremony. He'll complain. His wife will file an amendment to her lawsuit, but it's his word against ours." "What about the witnesses?" Steele asks. "Witnesses see what they want to see. Distance, lighting, stress, all factors that affect perception. What matters is what our official reports say. What matters is our body camera footage. Steele's face goes pale. About that, please don't tell me. My body cam was off. I forgot to activate it during the stop. Moss closes his eyes. Of course it was. Meanwhile, 3 blocks away at the scene of the arrest, Officer Ethan Williams reviews his own body camera footage. Williams is 26, Army veteran, 2 tours in Iraq, and he was doing a routine patrol when he heard Steele's radio call. Something about it felt wrong, so he responded to the scene. He arrived just as the metal fell, and his body camera captured everything in perfect high-definition clarity. Williams watches the footage now in his patrol car. The metal falling. Steele's face draining of color. The arrest continuing anyway. Steele pocketing the metal. A clear theft of federal property. Williams's training tells him to upload this footage to the precinct server immediately. Protocol, chain of evidence. But his instinct, his combat-honed sense of when something's not right, tells him to do something else first. He pulls out a USB drive from his personal bag, copies the footage, saves it to his personal cloud storage, emails it to himself at his civilian account. Then, and only then, does he upload it to the precinct server. If this footage disappears from the official system, and Williams has seen footage accidentally get corrupted before, he'll still have it. Because whatever is happening here, whatever Steele and Moss are planning, Williams knows one thing for certain. A decorated war hero just got arrested for being black, and Williams watched it happen. The footage is his insurance, his evidence, his weapon against whatever cover-up is coming. Back at the precinct, Steele files his report. He types, "Subject observed acting erratically. Suspected narcotics influence. Subject refused to identify himself. Subject physically resisted when approached. Use of force necessary to effect arrest. No unusual items found on subject." It's all lies, every word. But it's official now, documented, on the record. In the holding cell down the hall, Franklin sits alone, his jacket still torn, the medal still stolen, and his phone still in his pocket, recording everything. The booking process strips Franklin of his dignity piece by piece. Fingerprints first. The ink rolls across his fingertips while a bored officer presses each finger onto the card without meeting his eyes. Then the photo, a flash of bright light that makes him squint, capturing him at his worst moment. They inventory his belongings, wallet, keys, phone, wedding ring, nothing about a Medal of Honor. Franklin asked the booking officer, "My medal should be in evidence. Officer Steele took it from the scene." The officer checks the log without looking up. "I don't see any medal listed here." "Because Officer Steele stole it," Franklin says calmly. "He put it in his pocket. That's theft of federal military property and evidence tampering." The booking officer shifts uncomfortably. "Sir, that's a serious accusation." "It's on video," Franklin continues in that same measured tone. 5 civilians recorded him taking it. Check social media. Search hashtag Medal of Honor. It's already spreading. The officer says nothing and finishes the inventory without the medal listed. Franklin asks for his phone call, his constitutional right. The desk sergeant tells him the system is down. "You'll have to wait until we get it back online." "How long will that take?" "However long it takes. It's the same lie from earlier, and they both know it." Franklin nods slowly and goes to his holding cell without argument. He's creating a record. Every denial, every lie, every violation. His attorney wife taught him well. Document everything. In the cell, Franklin sits on the metal bench and touches his pocket. His phone is still there. They took his wallet and keys, but somehow missed the phone in his jacket's inner pocket. The phone that's been recording audio since the moment Steele grabbed him on Wilson Street. Every word, every threat, every violation, all time-stamped, all backed up to the cloud. Franklin speaks quietly for the recording. 7:34 p.m. Denied my legal right to a phone call. Desk sergeant claimed system malfunction. Same excuse from the street. Officer Steele filed a false report claiming I behaved erratically and resisted arrest. In fact, I explained I have PTSD from military service. The car backfire triggered a freeze response. Steele dragged me despite my explanation. My Congressional Medal of Honor, which fell from my jacket during his assault, was pocketed by Steele and is not logged in evidence. This constitutes theft of federal property, evidence tampering, and deprivation of rights under color of law. He pauses, checks his phone battery. 8%. Not much time left, but enough. I am being detained to prevent my testimony at a ceremony where media is present and to intimidate my wife from proceeding with her federal lawsuit. This is witness tampering. All of this is documented on body cameras and civilian phones. Battery at 8%. If this recording ends, the backup is in cloud storage under my wife's account. Meanwhile, at Kennedy High School, the ceremony that was supposed to start at 7:30 is now 45 minutes delayed. Mayor Rodriguez stands backstage, confused and increasingly frustrated. Where is Mr. Brooks? This is his ceremony. We have press waiting. We have students waiting. Principal Sarah Mitchell wrings her hands. His wife is trying to locate him. This isn't like Franklin. He's never late. Something's wrong. Maya Brooks stands in the school parking lot calling Franklin's number for the 15th time. Voicemail again. Her attorney instincts kick into high gear. She calls the precinct. This is attorney Maya Brooks. My husband, Franklin Brooks, was walking to Kennedy High School an hour ago. He hasn't arrived. Has anyone been arrested in that area? The desk sergeant checks his screen, sees Franklin's name in the system, and makes a decision. No arrests logged in that area tonight, ma'am. Maya's voice goes cold. She knows that tone. She's heard it 1,000 times in her civil rights practice. The tone of an official lie. Pull the dispatch logs for Kennedy High area between 6:30 and 7 p.m. I'll wait. Ma'am, I'll need to transfer you to a supervisor. Don't transfer me anywhere. Pull the logs. The sergeant panics. I'll check with my supervisor. He puts her on hold. Immediately calls Captain Moss. Captain, we have a problem. The teacher's wife is calling. She's a lawyer. She's asking about dispatch logs. Moss closes his eyes. Of course she is. Tell her we'll call her back. Stall. Sir, she's not the stalling type. At that exact moment, social media explodes. The first civilian video hits Facebook, then Twitter, then Instagram, then TikTok. The video shows the metal falling, shows Steele's face draining of color, shows the arrest continuing anyway. 50 views, 500, 5,000. A local news intern monitoring social media sees it, flags it to her producer. The producer watches the video twice. Get a crew to Kennedy High School, now. Something's happening with that Medal of Honor ceremony. The desk sergeant's phone rings again. It's the media liaison. We're getting calls about a Medal of Honor recipient being arrested. Do we have a statement? Moss watches the view counter on his phone. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. The video is spreading faster than they can contain it. He calls Steele. Don't file that report, not yet. We need to talk to legal first. But it's too late. Steele already hit submit. The lies are official now. Officer Ethan Williams finds Detective Harris in the precinct locker room. Harris is 53, 25 years on the force, and one of the few detectives Williams trusts. Williams pulls out his laptop and opens the body camera footage without saying a word. Harris watches. His face hardens as the video plays. The metal falling in perfect clarity. Steele's face. Shock, then calculation, then the decision to proceed anyway. The theft of the metal captured in high definition. The arrest of a decorated veteran for freezing due to combat PTSD. Oh my God, Harris says quietly. He arrested him after seeing the medal. Williams nods. And Steele took it. It's not in evidence. Federal theft. Does Moss know you have this footage? No one knows. I copied it before uploading to the server. Williams meets Harris's eyes. Sir, I've seen footage disappear before. The Martinez case, the Johnson case. Evidence that doesn't fit the narrative just corrupts. Harris understands immediately. You did the right thing. Email me a copy. Email yourself at your personal account. We need multiple backups because this is going to explode. While they secure the footage, the first local news broadcast goes live. Channel 7's evening anchor speaks with practiced gravity. We're following a developing story at Kennedy High School, where a Medal of Honor ceremony has been delayed because the recipient, Captain Franklin Brooks, hasn't arrived. We're getting reports that... At the ceremony, Maya stops a reporter. Her attorney instincts know exactly what she needs to do. Go public, create pressure, force transparency. My husband is Franklin Brooks. He's a decorated Marine who saved 23 lives in Afghanistan. He's also my key witness in a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Metropolitan Police Department. He left our home an hour ago to walk 2 blocks to this ceremony. He never arrived. The reporter leans forward. Are you suggesting the police? I'm stating facts. Maya cuts her off. My husband is missing. The last place he should have been was a 2-block walk from here. The precinct claims no one was arrested in this area, but witnesses are posting videos on social media showing otherwise. What videos? Maya pulls out her phone and shows the reporter the viral video. The metal falling, the arrest. Steele's face going pale and blue, the reporter's eyes widen. That's my husband being arrested on his way to his own honor ceremony. Maya's voice doesn't waver. And that's the Medal of Honor he earned saving American soldiers. Watch what happens next. Watch the officer take it. The video plays. The reporter watches Steele pocket the medal. Oh my God, the reporter whispers. Now the question is, Maya continues, where is my husband now, and why did the precinct tell me no one was arrested? The interview goes live, streams on the station's website, gets picked up by the network affiliate. Within minutes, #whereas Franklin Brooks starts trending locally. The video views climb. 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. More witnesses from Wilson Street come forward online, adding their videos, different angles, different perspectives, but all showing the same thing. A black man being dragged, a medal falling, an arrest continuing despite the truth being revealed. 7 videos total, all corroborating each other. At the precinct, Captain Moss calls the police union lawyer. We have a situation, a major situation. The lawyer's voice is cautious. Tell me you have body camera footage that justifies the arrest. Body cams were mostly off, except for one junior officer's. And the civilian videos show what? Moss closes his eyes. Medal of Honor falling out, Steele's reaction, then the arrest. A long pause. Release him, right now, before this becomes federal. It's already federal. He's testifying in a civil rights case next week, against us. Another pause, longer this time. Then you've obstructed a federal witness. I can't help you. Release him immediately and pray the U.S. attorney doesn't get involved. We can explain this as a misunderstanding. You arrested a war hero on video. There's no misunderstanding that fixes this. Cut him loose now. Moss hangs up. The union lawyer, the lawyer the department pays $50,000 a year to protect officers, just abandoned them. Down the hall, Officer Morrison sits at her desk, staring at a blank report screen. She's supposed to corroborate Steele's version, write her witness statement supporting the arrest. But she can't. She physically cannot type the lies. Detective Harris walks past, sees her frozen there. Morrison, you okay? You look sick. She looks up at him and her eyes are red. Steele arrested someone tonight, okay? And he's a Medal of Honor recipient. Her voice cracks. We dragged him. His medal fell out, in front of witnesses with phones, and we arrested him anyway. Harris sits down slowly. Tell me you let him go immediately after you saw the medal. Morrison's silence answers him. Oh no, Jen, tell me he's not still here. Steele wrote a report saying the medal never happened. He wants me to back him up. Can you? No. The word comes out as barely a whisper. Because it did happen. I saw it. 5 other people saw it. It's on video. And we arrested him anyway. We arrested a war hero for being black. Harris makes a decision. I need you to write down everything you remember, every detail, right now, before anyone tells you not to. Morrison looks at him. This will end my career. Your career is already over. Steele made sure of that when he pocketed that medal. But you can still do the right thing. You can still tell the truth. Morrison opens a new document. Her hands shake as she types. But she types. The truth this time. All of it. 23 pages later, she signs it. Meanwhile, Steele realizes he's losing control. The videos are everywhere. The union lawyer won't take his calls. Morrison is talking to Harris. He goes to the holding cell, desperate to fix this somehow. Listen, Steele says through the bars. This is a misunderstanding. We're going to release you. No charges filed. You go to your ceremony. Everyone's happy. We forget this happened. Franklin looks at him from the metal bench. You stole my Medal of Honor. You filed a false report. You denied me a phone call. And now you want to pretend this didn't happen? I'm trying to help you here. No. Franklin says quietly. You're trying to help yourself. The answer is no. I want my phone call. I want my medal back. I want my attorney, and I want every officer involved held accountable. Steele's face goes pale again. You don't understand what you're starting here. I understand perfectly. Franklin stands up, walks to the bars, looks Steele directly in the eyes. I'm a black man who served his country. I saved 23 American lives, and you arrested me for having PTSD. You're not the victim here. You're the criminal. Steele walks away. His hands are shaking, because he knows Franklin is right, and he knows there's no way out of this anymore. Detective Harris and Officer Williams go to Captain Moss's office together. The hallway is empty, the night shift quiet except for the distant sound of phones ringing at the front desk. Harris knocks once and enters without waiting for permission. We need to talk about the Brooks arrest, Harris says. Moss looks up from his computer, his face already exhausted. It was a solid arrest. Subject matched a description. He resisted. Harris sets his laptop on Moss's desk. There was no dispatch call. I checked with the communications center. Nothing came in about a suspicious person in that area all night. Moss's jaw tightens. Steele responded to observed behavior. I've seen the body camera footage. Harris interrupts. He opens the laptop and turns it toward Moss. All of it, Captain. You need to see this before you commit to any story. Williams's body camera footage plays, the metal falling in crystal clarity, Steele's face draining of color the exact moment he realizes his mistake, then the decision, the arrest continuing, Steele pocketing the metal, theft captured frame by frame. Moss watches in silence. When it's over, he sits back in his chair. That's federal evidence tampering, theft of military property, civil rights deprivation, witness obstruction. He looks at Williams. Does anyone else have this footage? It's on the server, Williams says carefully, and backed up. Moss understands what Williams isn't saying. The backup isn't just on the department server. It's somewhere safe, somewhere even Moss can't reach. Release him, Moss says finally. Right now, bring him to an interrogation room first. No charges filed. We'll call it an administrative error. Harris escorts Franklin from his cell. They walk through the precinct hallway past other officers who suddenly find their paperwork fascinating. At the lobby, Franklin sees Maya. Their eyes meet across the room. Maya jumps up. Franklin! The desk sergeant moves to block her, but Franklin's voice carries. I'm okay. I've been recording everything. It's all on record. Maya understands immediately. Smart man, smart teacher, smart veteran who knows how to document evidence. In the interrogation room, Steele and Morrison wait. Harris observes through the one-way glass. Moss stands beside him, watching everything. Steele tries intimidation one more time. You physically resisted arrest. We have witnesses. Franklin places his phone on the table, battery at 1%. Your body camera was off. Mine wasn't. Steele stares at the phone. I'm a teacher, Franklin continues. I record every police interaction for protection. I have 8 months of harassment documented since my wife filed her lawsuit, including tonight's radio chatter about handling the teacher married to that lawyer. The room goes silent. The car backfire triggered PTSD. I froze. You exploited a combat veteran's disability to intimidate me into missing testimony. You arrested me because I'm a black man in what you consider a white neighborhood married to a lawyer who scares you. Morrison shifts in her chair. Her conscience is breaking. Franklin's phone screen goes black, battery dead. But Steele sees Franklin smile slightly. Cloud backup, Franklin says. Everything's already uploaded. Your dispatch fabrication, your theft of my medal, your false arrest, all time-stamped, all recoverable, all admissible. Steele's face drains of color again, the same pale to blue progression from Wilson Street. Harris opens the door. Steele, Captain wants you, now. Moss enters the interrogation room himself, and his presence changes the energy immediately. He's the captain, the authority, the decision-maker. But right now, he looks like a man watching his career end in real time. Mr. Brooks, Moss begins. Captain Brooks, sir, we're releasing you. Administrative error. You're free to go. No charges. We apologize for the inconvenience. Franklin doesn't move from his chair. Inconvenience? You arrested me for being black. You stole my Medal of Honor. You denied me my constitutional rights. And now you call it an inconvenience? We'll investigate this internally. You'll investigate yourself? Franklin's voice stays calm, but there's steel underneath. The same captain who received $15,000 from the police union to handle my wife's lawsuit, You're going to investigate your own corruption? Moss's face goes white. How do you... I'm married to a federal attorney. Did you think we don't have financial records, bank statements, tax documents? That $15,000 donation has a paper trail. Harris steps into the room. Captain, FBI just called. They're sending agents. They'll be here within the hour. Moss sits down heavily. It's over. He knows it's over. Fine. Moss pulls Franklin's medal from the evidence locker, where Steele finally logged it after everything fell apart. Mr. Brooks, your medal. Franklin takes it, inspects it carefully for damage, then puts it in his pocket. I'll need a receipt. This is now evidence in a federal case. Maya appears at the interrogation room door, and the desk sergeant doesn't try to stop her this time. She walks straight to Franklin, and they embrace briefly. Professional. But the relief is palpable. Are you okay? Maya asks. I documented everything. Audio recording, 2 hours, every lie, every violation. Maya looks at Steele, then at Moss. Her attorney voice is ice cold. You arrested my husband, a federal witness in our civil rights case, to prevent his testimony. That's obstruction of justice. You stole his Medal of Honor. That's theft of federal military property. You denied him his phone call. That's deprivation of rights. And you did all of this on camera. Multiple cameras. You gave us everything we need. Steele looks at the floor. Morrison stares at her hands. Moss says nothing. Franklin stands. I have a ceremony to attend. I'm late, because you held me illegally for 2 hours. They walk out of the precinct together, and the press is waiting outside. Cameras, reporters, lights. The story has gone fully viral now. 300,000 views. National news picking it up. Where is Franklin Brooks answered with video evidence and outrage. Franklin gives a brief statement at the precinct steps. I'll have more to say tomorrow. Tonight, I have a ceremony to attend, but I want to thank the witnesses who filmed what happened. Your courage matters. Your documentation matters. You didn't look away, and that makes all the difference. Maya drives Franklin to Kennedy High School. He's still in his torn jacket. No time to change, but he's here. He's free. He's alive. The gymnasium erupts when he walks in. Standing ovation, students crying, teachers applauding, parents on their feet. The ovation goes on for 2 full minutes. Principal Mitchell's voice breaks with emotion. Mr. Brooks is here. Our hero is here. Franklin walks to the stage, and the torn shoulder of his jacket is visible to everyone. A visible reminder of what just happened. What he survived. Mayor Rodriguez addresses the crowd, and his prepared remarks are gone. He speaks from the heart. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear is a story of courage. Not just in Afghanistan, but tonight, 2 blocks from here. Captain Franklin Brooks was targeted, assaulted, and illegally detained while walking to this ceremony. Not because he broke any law, but because of the color of his skin and the courage of his wife to hold power accountable. The crowd murmurs, angry, supportive, protective. Franklin speaks briefly. This medal represents 23 Marines who came home to their families. Tonight, I almost didn't make it 2 blocks to honor that service, but I'm here because people filmed, because people shared, because people refused to look away. That's courage, too. The medal is placed around his neck. Cameras flash. The torn jacket and the medal together tell the whole story. After the ceremony, witnesses from Wilson Street approach Franklin. The former Marine who filmed the arrest shakes Franklin's hand. Captain Brooks, I couldn't not film. You saved my cousin in Helmand, Corporal Danny Davis. He came home because of you. Franklin's eyes widen. Danny? Danny Davis? How is he? He's good, sir. 3 kids. Works construction. When I saw them dragging you tonight, I thought, not him, not after everything. So I filmed, and I posted it everywhere. You saved my life tonight, Franklin says quietly. No, sir, I returned the favor. Officer Williams appears in his dress uniform off duty. Captain Brooks, I'm Officer Ethan Williams. I kept my body camera on tonight. I have the complete footage. Everything. Franklin shakes his hand. You chose integrity over loyalty. That takes more courage than people know. You would have done the same, sir. I hope we all would, Franklin says. I hope that becomes the standard, not the exception. The next morning, 2 FBI agents sit in Franklin and Maya's living room. Special Agent Rodriguez is 45, a veteran of the Civil Rights Division, and she's seen a lot of police misconduct cases in her career. But this one is special. This one is documented like a prosecutor's dream. Captain Brooks, Agent Rodriguez begins. Walk me through the evening. Start from when you left your home. Franklin's voice is steady, a teacher's voice, clear and precise. I left at 6:30 p.m., 2-block walk to Kennedy High School. I've made that walk hundreds of times. I teach there. I was carrying my Medal of Honor to show my students at the ceremony. When did you first encounter Officer Steele? 6:49 p.m. A car backfired on Wilson Street. The sound triggered my PTSD. I froze. It's a common response for combat veterans. My body remembered Afghanistan. Steele was on me within seconds. Did you resist arrest? No. I tried to explain. I told him I have PTSD. I told him about the car backfire. I told him I'm a teacher at the school. He didn't listen. He grabbed me, dragged me. My jacket tore during the drag and my medal fell out. What happened when the medal hit the ground? Franklin closes his eyes, remembering. Time stopped. Everyone saw it. Steele stared at it, his face. It drained of color, recognition, then horror. He knew what he'd done, he knew who I was, and then he made a choice. What choice? To arrest me anyway, to pocket the medal, to file false reports, to cover up instead of admitting his mistake. Agent Rodriguez leans forward. Why do you think he made that choice? Because my wife is suing his department. Because I'm testifying next week as a character witness. Because he thought he could intimidate me into silence. Because in his mind, I'm not a veteran or a teacher or a Medal of Honor recipient. I'm just a black man who doesn't belong in his neighborhood. The agent nods and makes notes. Then she asks, You mentioned you recorded the interaction? Franklin pulls out his phone. I record every police interaction. It's legal in this state. I've been doing it for 8 months, ever since the harassment started after my wife filed her federal lawsuit. He scrolls through his cloud storage. I have 2 hours and 12 minutes of audio from last night. Every word, every threat, every lie, including the radio chatter about handling the teacher married to that lawyer. Agent Rodriguez's eyes light up. We'll need copies of everything. Maya, sitting beside Franklin, adds, We also have financial records showing Captain Moss received $15,000 from the police union specifically designated for lawsuit management. We have text messages between union leadership and Moss discussing witness problems. And we have testimony from 6 other plaintiffs in our lawsuit who were all mysteriously stopped by police in the weeks before their scheduled depositions. 6 others? The agent sits up straighter. This is a pattern? This is a conspiracy, Maya corrects. Systematic witness intimidation. All targeting my clients. All supervised by the same captain. All involving the same group of officers. The FBI raids the precinct that afternoon. Agents in windbreakers carrying boxes of evidence, computer servers, body camera storage, dispatch logs, text message records, financial statements. The entire digital infrastructure of the department gets seized. In Captain Moss's office, they find everything. Bank statements showing the $15,000 deposit. Text messages coordinating witness management. A notebook with Maya's plaintiff list and notations about their schedules. Surveillance logs tracking plaintiff movements. In Steele's locker, they find worse. Handwritten notes tracking Maya's clients, addresses, work schedules, license plate numbers, a list titled Problems to Handle with Franklin's name at the top, underlined twice, with Ceremony 7:30 p.m. written next to it. The FBI forensics team examines the precinct computer system. The dispatch log for last night shows no call about a suspicious person on Wilson Street. But the metadata reveals something damning. An entry was created at 7:15 p.m. after Franklin's arrest, backdated to 6:45 p.m. before the stop. The system logged who created it. Officer Brandon Steele from his workstation. Fabricated evidence, time-stamped, provable. They interview Officer Morrison next. She's already written her 23-page statement, and now she sits across from federal agents, ready to cooperate fully. Tell us about the Clean House group chat, Agent Rodriguez says. Morrison's voice shakes, but she talks. It was Steele, me, Officers Garrett and Hammond. We coordinated stops of people in Mrs. Brooks's lawsuit. We called it witness management. Who gave the orders? Captain Moss. He never put it in writing, but we knew. He'd say things like, handle the problem, or make them reconsider testifying. Did you know stopping Franklin Brooks was planned? Yes. Morrison looks down at her hands. The group chat message said, "Lawyer's husband walking to school tonight. Opportunity." Steele responded, "On it." I knew what that meant. "Why did you participate?" Morrison's voice drops to a whisper. "Fear, loyalty, the brotherhood. I thought we were protecting each other, but when that medal fell, when I saw Steele's face, and he arrested Captain Brooks anyway, I realized we weren't protecting anything. We were destroying everything good about this job." "What made you decide to cooperate?" Detective Harris. "He told me the truth wasn't going to protect my career, but it would let me sleep at night. He was right." The FBI interviews Officer Williams next, and his body camera footage becomes the centerpiece of the case. Agent Rodriguez watches it with her team, and they synchronize it with the 7 civilian videos. Frame by frame, second by second, a video forensics expert creates a timeline. 6 hours, 49 minutes, and 15 seconds p.m. Initial stop. Steele exits vehicle. 6 hours, 49 minutes, and 47 seconds p.m. Radio chatter. "That's the teacher married to that lawyer, right?" 6 hours, 50 minutes, and 23 seconds p.m. Physical confrontation begins. 6 hours, 51 minutes, and 18 seconds p.m. Steele drags Franklin. Williams's camera captures the full sequence. 6 hours, 51 minutes, and 52 seconds p.m. Franklin's jacket tears at the shoulder seam. 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 17 seconds p.m. Metal begins to fall from torn pocket. 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 19 seconds p.m. Metal hits pavement. Distinctive metallic sound. 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 20 seconds p.m. 4 civilian cameras capture Steele's face simultaneously. The color drains, pale, then blue-tinged. Shock, horror, calculation. 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 28 seconds p.m. Steele's hand reaches for the metal. 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 31 seconds p.m. Metal in Steele's pocket. 3 cameras capture this clearly. 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 45 seconds p.m. Arrest proceeds despite metal identification. 6 hours, 53 minutes, and 12 seconds p.m. Franklin states, "I saved 23 Marines in Afghanistan." 6 hours, 53 minutes, and 18 seconds p.m. Multiple witnesses verbally identify the Medal of Honor. The expert's report concludes, Subject Steele had clear and unobstructed view of the medal for 9 seconds before taking possession. The medal was visible and identifiable to multiple witnesses. Subject Steele's facial expression and body language indicate recognition and understanding of the medal's significance. The subsequent decision to continue the arrest and take possession of the medal demonstrates intent and consciousness of wrongdoing. The U.S. Attorney announces charges at a press conference 3 days later. Today, we are filing federal charges against 4 police officers and 1 administrator of the Metropolitan Police Department. Officer Brandon Steele faces 8 felony counts, including deprivation of rights under color of law, a charge that carries up to life in prison when bodily injury occurs, theft of federal military property, evidence tampering, false reporting, and witness tampering. The prosecutor continues, Captain Richard Moss faces conspiracy charges related to witness intimidation in a pending federal civil rights case. Officers Garrett and Hammond face conspiracy and witness tampering charges. The Internal Affairs Director faces obstruction of justice charges for systematically burying 52 complaints against this unit. The evidence is overwhelming. 7 civilian videos, complete body camera footage, audio recordings, text messages documenting the conspiracy, and perhaps most damning, we have evidence that 6 other plaintiffs in Mrs. Brooks's lawsuit were similarly harassed before their depositions. This is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern. This is a conspiracy. And it will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of federal law. The press conference streams live. The video of the medal falling plays on every news network, side by side with footage of Franklin receiving the medal from the president in 2019. CNN's caption, "From presidential honor to pavement, war hero arrested on way to ceremony." The police union issues a statement trying to distance itself from Steele and Moss. It doesn't work. The financial records show the union funded the intimidation campaign. The city council holds an emergency session. "We have failed this community," Councilwoman Davis says, and her voice carries the weight of institutional shame. A Medal of Honor recipient was dragged 2 blocks from a school while walking to a ceremony honoring his service by officers who knew who he was and didn't care. This isn't a training problem. This is a corruption problem. I move that we accept the Department of Justice's offer of a federal consent decree. The motion passes unanimously. Franklin's case becomes a case study. Law schools use it to teach evidence preservation and documentation. Police academies use Williams's body camera footage in their ethics training. Civil rights organizations use it to teach communities about recording police interactions. But for Franklin and Maya, it's still just the beginning. The criminal trial hasn't happened yet. The civil case is still pending. The reforms are still being negotiated. Justice isn't a moment. It's a process. Long, painful, exhausting, but documented, provable, winnable. 3 months later, Officer Brandon Steele's criminal trial begins in federal court. The courtroom is packed every single day. Franklin attends each session, sitting in the front row where Steele can see him. A reminder, a witness, a presence. The prosecution's opening statement is devastating. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is documented like few others. You will see 7 videos from 7 different angles showing the same sequence of events. You will hear audio recordings of the defendant's own words. You will see his face, captured by 4 cameras simultaneously, the moment he realized his mistake, and you will see his choice, the worst choice, to proceed anyway. The prosecutor plays Williams's body camera footage on the courtroom's large screen. The jury watches in silence. When the metal hits the pavement, several jurors gasp. When Steele's face drains of color, they lean forward. When he pockets the metal and continues the arrest, one juror shakes her head. Witness after witness takes the stand. The former Marine who filmed from his porch. The neighbor who recorded from across the street. The couple who captured it from their car. Each video played, each angle shown, each testimony consistent. Officer Williams testifies. I kept my body camera on because something felt wrong. When I saw Captain Brooks freeze, I recognized PTSD. I've seen it in my own brothers from Iraq. That wasn't aggression, that was trauma. And Officer Steele treated it like a crime. Officer Morrison testifies next, and her testimony is the most damaging of all. She describes the clean house group chat, the conspiracy, the targeting of Franklin specifically, Moss's orders, the culture of protection over accountability. Why did you participate? The prosecutor asks. Because I was scared, Morrison says, and tears stream down her face. Scared of losing my job, scared of being ostracized, scared of the consequences of doing the right thing. But when that medal fell, when I saw what we'd become, I realized the consequences of doing the wrong thing were worse. The defense tries to argue that Steele made an honest mistake, that the lighting was poor, that the situation was chaotic, that he feared for his safety. Then the prosecution plays Franklin's phone recording. Crystal clear audio of Franklin calmly explaining his PTSD, calmly identifying himself as a teacher, calmly stating he's walking to a ceremony, never raising his voice, never threatening anyone. The defense tries to argue the medal could have been a replica or a prop. The prosecution brings an expert from the Department of Defense. The expert authenticates the medal, shows the serial number, shows the presidential award ceremony footage from 2019, shows the database entry with Franklin's name. Franklin testifies for 3 hours, calm, precise, detailed. Under cross-examination, the defense attorney tries to shake him. Captain Brooks, isn't it true you have animosity toward police because of your wife's lawsuit? No. Franklin responds evenly. I have animosity toward police who violate rights. Officer Williams is a police officer. He kept his camera on and told the truth. He's a hero. Detective Harris did the right thing. This isn't about all police. It's about these police. The ones who saw my medal and arrested me anyway. The jury deliberates for 4 hours. When they return, the verdict is read on every count. Guilty, 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 guilty. Steele drops his head. Franklin exhales for the first time in 3 months. The judge sentences Steele to 8 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years supervised release and a lifetime ban from law enforcement in any capacity. You didn't just arrest an innocent man, the judge says. You arrested a man who saved 23 American lives. You arrested a man with PTSD from serving his country. And when his Medal of Honor fell at your feet, you looked at it, recognized it, and proceeded anyway. Then you stole it. Then you lied about it. You betrayed your oath, your badge, and the public trust. Captain Moss's trial is separate but shorter. Guilty on all counts. 6 years in federal prison, $50,000 fine, lifetime ban from public service. Officers Garrett and Hammond take plea deals, probation, permanent decertification. They'll never wear a badge again. The IA director. 2 years in federal prison for obstruction of justice. The civil lawsuit settles. The department agrees to pay $4.5 million to all plaintiffs. Franklin donates his portion, $750,000, to veteran PTSD programs and police accountability organizations. I don't need the money, Franklin tells Maya. I need the change. The Department of Justice implements a consent decree, federal oversight for 5 years, mandatory reforms, a civilian oversight board with real subpoena power, body camera policies that require cameras on at all times with automatic discipline for malfunctions. Training programs reformed, de-escalation, PTSD recognition, implicit bias, constitutional rights. Officer Williams is promoted to sergeant and assigned to the training division. Teach them right from the beginning, the new chief tells him. The department is forced to reopen all 52 buried complaints. Disciplinary action follows. 3 more officers terminated, 5 suspended. The culture begins to shift, slowly, painfully, but it shifts. Maya's law firm expands. She takes on 15 more police misconduct cases from other departments. The pattern repeats. The same tactics, the same cover-ups. But now there's precedent. Franklin's case sets the standard. 1 year after his arrest, Franklin stands in his classroom at Kennedy High. The Medal of Honor hangs in a display case on the wall. Next to it, a copy of the body camera training manual that now uses his case as a teaching example. His students study the actual case, the videos, the timeline, the evidence. This is civics in action, Franklin tells them. Not the textbook version, the lived version. A student raises her hand. Mr. Brooks, did the system work? Franklin considers the question carefully. Define work. Officer Steele went to prison. The department reformed, we got oversight, policies changed, but it took 7 videos, an FBI investigation, national news coverage, and a year of my life. The system worked, but only because people forced it to. That's the lesson. Never trust the system to fix itself. Be the people who force it to work. Another student asks, Are you a hero? Franklin shakes his head. I'm a teacher who refused to be silenced. That's not heroism. That's basic human dignity. You all have that same dignity. Protect it, document it, fight for it. That's what I teach. 2 years after that night on Wilson Street, Franklin walks into his classroom for a new semester. The medal still hangs on the wall. The case still gets studied. The reforms still hold, though they're tested daily. First day of class, new students, fresh faces. He shows them the footage with FBI permission. They watch the medal fall, watch Steele's face drain, watch justice slowly, painfully work. What would you do? Franklin asks after the video ends. What should you do? What can you do? A student raises her hand. Mr. Brooks, are you scared it'll happen again? Every time I walk home, Franklin admits. Fear doesn't excuse inaction. It demands preparation. Another student. Did winning the case fix everything? No, but it fixed some things. And some is how change happens, one case at a time. After school, Franklin walks home. Same route, same 2 blocks. A patrol car passes. The officer waves. Franklin nods back. Different officer, different department culture, progress, small, real. At home, Maya is on the phone. Another case, another veteran, another story. She sees Franklin and smiles, covering the phone. Texas. Army vet. Stopped for suspicious behavior. Has video. Franklin sits beside her. They've done this 20 times in 2 years. They conference in the new veteran. This is Franklin Brooks, he says into the phone. Tell me everything. Start from the beginning. And please tell me you recorded it. The veteran's voice is shaky but hopeful. Every second. My phone was on the whole time. Franklin smiles. Good. Then we can win. Let me tell you how. The medal catches evening light through the window. The laptop opens. A new case file begins. The work continues. The fight continues. The hope continues. Because justice isn't achieved once. It's achieved constantly by people who refuse to stop fighting.